Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to look at these guys. This is McLean. Amazing crew. Photorealism at its very best. They pioneered this stuff, really. I mean, you know, again, like all graph, that's up for debate, but McLean arguably just took this into another dimension, really. The work they were doing around this just catapulted it into a different league, really. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? So nice picture of TASSO there doing the cover shot. This one, I mean, look at that. It's just mad, isn't it? It is mad good. Now, if you bear in mind, this book came out in 2006, so the pieces you're going to see inside it were done before 2006. Beautiful eye there. Great to see a close-up as well. For anybody who's getting involved in painting, particularly, you've got to be able to see close-ups of the work, because that's how you see how it's done. I mean, to be honest, even looking at that, you kind of go, how's he done that? That's amazing. Beautiful sort of sheen on the... Anyway, blah, blah, blah. You've got to be able to see the close-up. You've got to. Otherwise, you can't see how you're going to replicate it yourself. This is how you learn technique. So, section about the crew here. AKUT did these beautiful sort of, I guess you call them sort of distorted portraiture. Is that what you call it? Very skillful. Really, really skillful stuff. A lot of this book, by the way, is a lot of text in it. So it's broken up the text a lot. For the purposes of video, it's not always very handy, but we will, you know, we'll struggle through, because the fact is that seeing the work is a good enough reward. You can see this guy has moved on from doing a sort of, I don't know if he comes from a traditional graph background or not, but certainly he has moved on from that when you see this, because this is starting to resemble something much more like, I don't know what art movement it will be, but you're moving into fine art in many ways. The composition of this sort of stuff and the way he's doing this is a lot more, let's say it's a, again, this is arguable, but it's a move towards abstract. It's still obviously figurative, but he's moving towards abstract here. If you don't like this sort of stuff, just stay with us, because it's going to get very graphy very quick, and you'll see what I mean. So really beautiful work, really beautiful. You can see his distortion. You see he's using photorealism and a sort of a slightly kind of cartoonized figures as well. Really nice themes he's using, sort of wind up dog there, and I love this stuff. Love this. So he does a sort of wireframe figure. I tried this for a while, wasn't my bag, I weren't very good at it. Wireframe kind of figures, and a bit of sort of heavy detail and stuff. It's very arty, that very art very arty. It's kind of beautiful. Lovely picture there, lovely, gorgeous bit of photorealism. Just beautiful stuff. You know, fleshes it out, but at the same time heightens the. It's not just photorealism; it's very heightened. And this is Case. That's a beautiful picture. Look at the composition of that. That is 50% negative space. Can you see that? All that negative space down there only brings the eye closer to this. You know, all that is taking you down to this beautiful bit of composition. If you look at this again, that's wireframe, bit of white highlight, very little. This is what great artists can do. They can use tiny amounts of line to create a whole load of stuff. That's a whole, you know, no, you can't see because of the shadow. If I was to sort of do that, look at that, there's very few lines in there. So all the heavy lifting is being done through that tiny bit there, and that's all he needs. Brilliant piece. We're talking like really serious talent here, and you can cultivate this sort of talent. It takes a lot of hard work, obviously, and I mean, you know, you could work the rest of your life and not get as good as this, but you know, also. As my mate always says, listen, if I play tennis for the next 2 years, I might not become Roger Federer, but I'd certainly get better at tennis. Which I think is a very good way of looking at it. Okay, we're on the wall a lot here. Yeah, nice. A bit more traditional graphy there, you can see. Bit of a teen up with somebody else there. Oh, I love that. Look at that. You see that? The pictures aren't very big, which is annoying. We've got a bit of machinery in now. I love a bit of machinery and pipe work. Gorgeous. And that's on the end of a piece. Beautiful. Lovely work. Yeah, nice artistic composition there again. Very skillful work with the can. Again, you know, look at that. Big swathes of negative space there. We've got some beautiful splash in the background. You've got some very tight figurative work there. All the heavy lifting being done through its own bit. See the composition? That's what it's all about. First lines there. Oh, this is RUSK. So now, okay. If you want a traditional graph, you want a bit of traditional lettersmithing, here we go, RUSK. So you've seen AKUT and you've seen case already. Now RUSK brings traditional letter-based graphy stuff. You know, you could say, again, arguably based on the New York style, right? So we see lovely pieces. Yeah, I mean, you love all this, right? Anybody who's into graph will love all this. Nice black-white contrast there. Gorgeous bit of background on it. Love all that. Some lovely colourways he uses. Look at the difference in the colour as well. Not scared to mix it up. Try different fills, all that. That's just great, isn't it? That for a great variation of colour. You've got polarised colour. You know, where you have a lighter outline, a darker fill. Darker outline, lighter fill, mixing up colours, mixing up styles of fill. Great stuff. TASSO, photorealism master again. Amazing, amazing work. Some of his early stuff here, as he's finding his feet around stuff. A very rare letter piece there. Getting very, very good here. I mean, these shadows, I mean, this is just unbelievable work. Unbelievable. Here he is doing like portraiture in what looks like the Alps. Looks very like Switzerland. I don't know if it is Switzerland. That's too little for me to be able to read. I can't read it, but it looks like Switzerland. I've only been to Switzerland once. But, There was a massive fashion back in the early 2000s for this kind of stuff, and while it's aesthetically very nice, the photos, it's a bit much, you know, for the brain to take in. Often my brain can't be bothered with it, you know. So I love the aesthetic of loads and loads of photo montage and all that, but part of me goes, oh, I can't be bothered. Same with this, really. These photos aren't big enough to really appreciate. We get into much bigger ones later, so you can really appreciate what's going on. Jams, okay, let's have a look. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. These are amazing. Look at them. Now, normally you look at that and go, oh, you'd achieve that in Photoshop. No, these guys have painted it on the wall. They've painted the crew members, like that, photorealistically on the wall. That is quite something. And it's this big wall there. That is absolutely fantastic. If you saw photorealism like that today, you'd be like, whoa, blow your mind. And this is back then. So good. Big concept walls. Again, you know, he's used depth. So depth of field has been used here, meaning he's blurred the background. To do this during, I mean, you see it done quite a lot nowadays because you've got a lot of skilled painters now and know how to do it. But in these days, there weren't many people doing this, let me tell you. Blurred the background out, brought the foreground into sharp focus. And even that, I mean, look at it, you know, he's painted this, but look at the shine on the page there and there, and painted these pieces inside the pages of the book. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You can see them hard at it here. So you can see the scale. This is really important as well. So you can see the scale they're working at. It's always useful as a writer to be able to see the scale that people are working out on the wall. Beautiful piece, Planet Rock. I mean, what a wicked nod to the old school. Big old ghetto blaster. We all had these in the 80s, or people could afford them anyway. Mine was not quite this good. Belly here, great. Breaking, I mean, you know, it's just, for us in the European, I know the Americans argue about it because they say hip-hop, you know, what hip-hop was, and, you know, hip-hop wasn't a thing, it was packaged up and sent to Europe and all that. I get it, but to us, who got it as a package, this is all part of hip-hop, isn't it? You know, this is all the four pillars business. This is what hip-hop is to us. Breakdancing, MCing, turntablism, graffiti. More great bit. I love that. Look at the colourway on that. Beautiful. I talk about a muted palette a lot of the time. Can you see the difference? So this is not a muted palette. Very, very strong, vibrant primary colours in there. Well, one particular, as you can see, the red is like douche, popping out of you as a primary colour. Beautiful piece. This, much more muted. Gorgeous, muted piece. All the colours really muted and fading right down to a background where you just see these silhouettes in a kind of greeny grey. I love that. Absolutely love it. My colour palettes that I use with markers, I cannot achieve this. You can only really, well, personally, I can only achieve this if I was to use paint, which I never use paint, as in watercolour or something like that, or Photoshop, and I don't use digital either. But I could wash stuff out on Photoshop. I've done it before, using hue and saturation and stuff like that. I'm not very good on Photoshop, but I know bits and pieces, you know. But I can't achieve that using Poscas or Molotovs or anything, because they're much more poppy. Because they're supposed to be much more vibrant. So I always love these kind of pieces. Another lovely piece, painted piece there. Gorgeous. I don't know what he's done that in. Some beautiful production walls. And look at this one. That's a mad one, isn't it? That's a mad one. Some crazy stuff going on there. I mean, artistically, that is very, very accomplished. It's not my favourite wall. But again, the colourway. Look at the colourway. Look how black it is. Use really, really dark tones there. Not scared of using dark tones. I've always been scared of using darker tones. Hush used to use a lot of dark tones in his stuff. Because if you know, look at that figure. Just goes right down into black. This sort of centaur figure. And a Minotaur seems to be a sort of Greek mythology theme in there somewhere, maybe. These figures slightly remind me of Word to Mother. If anybody knows Word to Mother from Super Duper Crew. Reminds me a little bit of them. He was very experimental as well. I think he's a fine artist now. I think he moved into fine art. Don't know if he does graph anymore. Maybe he does, don't know. Yeah, sort of, yeah, very concepty, isn't it? RUSK over RUSK. That's a beautiful wall. Again, this is very thematically, you see this in early 2000 stuff, and these guys do it some of the best. Lots and lots of negative space with motif, tiny bits of motif in the background. So you've got this cross thing that you get on like toxic chemicals and stuff like that, little symbols like that. You've got a monochromatic colorway is used for the background. You see that? With the oranges into the dark reds, into the super dark reds, into the black red. Who uses the black red? Geezer 3A has got a black red named after him from Belton. It's a beautiful colour if you can work out what to do with it. A lot of writers are a bit stuck with it. It's like, what are you going to do with it? You've got to really understand colourway to be able to use it properly. And you can see what they've done in the background there. It's gorgeous. And the contrast there in that green, it's just brilliant, isn't it? Love it. Love that as a wall. That's fantastic. Again, you can see the scale he's working at. So this guy's where he's pulling his shirt open. Look how big that is, or rather, look how small that is. Anybody who paints and is looking at that going, that is tasty, really tasty work. Oh, he's up a stick here. He's up a tower scaffold. Not my favourite thing to work up, let me tell you. I don't want to be up one of them. having worked in construction. I'm not a fan of the tower scaffold. Give me a cherry picker any day. Beautiful works though. I mean, that's gorgeous. Again, clever what they've done with the background. They've done a single block colour background in sort of, you know, big kind of like Lego figure. And then you've got, you know, all the heavy lifting being done just here. Another lovely piece there. These are really all quite big, you know. These are like 2-3 story. I'm talking about 3-story picture, 3-story murals. You know, there's a lot of work there. I mean, that is just brilliant, isn't it? Masks, taking the eyes out in that way, use them as masks, and then you've got this sort of cartoons. The cartoon, by the way, literally, what is it, from the Italian, is it? Cartoon, it basically means to use an outline or something. That's what it literally means. It's where we get the word from. You know, Michelangelo, when he worked on the Sistine Chapel ceiling, used cartoons of the apostles initially, you know, which meant that he'd done the outlines on them and then fleshed them out. So you get this sort of, this cartoon outline, single block colour, and then you've got these beautiful ornate photorealistic masks. Very impressive. Beautiful production wall there. This is so early 2000s. Again, look at that. You know, you use one colour or maybe 2 colours there. All that beautiful font work in there just as background. It's very graphic designy, that. It's when graphic design started to have a very heavy impact on graph and the way people are doing production walls. That's a gorgeous one. Oh, really good. Yeah, we started to see a lot of graphic designing. But Via Graphic, they were very big. I don't know if they're still going. From Germany, I believe. I think McLean are a German crew as well, aren't they? Somebody can't punch me in the face if I got that wrong. This is gorgeous. Same kind of concept. You do photorealism in the eyes. Cartoon. Everywhere else. Yeah, and the contrast makes it pop and makes it leap. This is a heavy one. That's a beautiful wall, isn't it? I mean, that is hectic. And again, you know, this black background there that slowly sort of turns into all this here. And then you've got the guy sketching there, which turns into these pieces. I mean, it's just fantastic. Fantastic work. Love it. So you've got a very, there's Cantu on the wall with them. So you've got a very sort of, I mean, even, you know, this is nice ideas. You know, you've got your character, then you've got sort of a literal sort of polarized silhouette of the character behind there. Fabulous, love it. This is just brilliant. Another Cantu collaboration. Oh, this is Meeting the Styles, that's why. So they've done a team up here. And this is just brilliant. So again, I would draw your attention to the amount of negative space. Never be scared of negative space. It will really work for you. Again, you know, beautiful bit of portraiture here. Gorgeous figures in this circular bit. And again, the, you know, very graphic designy here. And then you got your pieces. And that's a beautiful wall. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, this was a concept I've never seen done before. Maybe it's been done since, I don't know. Which is like old men b-boys, you know. B-boys, old guys, and that's just a great idea, isn't it? Because the fact is that as we all get older, we're all turning into this. I mean, this is a reality now, you know, of men my age going around with name belts and stuff, you know. Love it. We're still into it. Still bang into it. Great big production wall that sits on as well. Sadly, I can't tell you who any of... I was going to say I can't tell you who any of them writers are. Let's have a look. See if I can, no, I can't tell. I haven't got, that looks like Atom. I haven't got my good glasses on. That was an oversight, wasn't it? Or an undersight, if as the case is. Weimar City. Oof. I mean, that is difficult enough to do on paper. Let alone paint it on a wall. Flipping heck. That's good. That is really, really good. Again, love this idea. This was a very popular thing at the time as well, where you'd introduce, like, in fact, I might do this in illustration. Maybe even today if I get the time. Which is this thing, but you take a piece like that and you drop something in front of, like, you illustrate a piece of glass in front of it and you do it a different color, or you polarize it or something like that. And here he's turned it into black and red, you know. That's lovely. I love that. Again, very graphic designy, right? In its design. Production walls. You know, it's worth saying, traditionally production walls, what you did is you did name, character, and backgrounds were sort of like, I mean, famously, you know, whoever was the best artist in the crew would do the background and get really sick and tired of having to do the background all the time. And largely you just sort of, you know, sometimes you do something figurative or whatever, some buildings or whatever, mash it up. You get, you know, really great background artists. Some would never really bother with the background very much at all. At this stage, you start to see graphic designy backgrounds. So lots of negative space, but really beautifully carved out. You know, the space is divvied up. That's what graphic design does. It divvies the space up to make the space work for you. So you don't fill it. If you were to take that and that, only fills up about half the volume of the space. And the rest of the space, you get working so that you're looking at the right bits, basically. That makes sense. Stunning work. Absolutely. What the hell? That is incredible. I mean, that's mad. He looks like he's done all that with a stencil cap or something. I've got no idea how you do this kind of work. Oh, I don't have the patience for that, I tell you. But this is just brilliant. Just absolutely drop dead brilliant. You know, I want you to remember as well, this has been done, what, 17 years ago? 17, 18 years ago. That's a phenomenal bit of work. All that in the monochromatic in the background, that's beautiful kind of, you know, oh, so good. Super graphic designy, but look at that, sort of like polarized something. Don't ask me what it is, but it's a beautiful looking thing. I remember this as well, very designy stuff. It's brilliant, it's fantastic. And it's very, the great thing that did it as well is it's very easy to date for us, you know. For those of us who are around when this stuff was being done, we can date it very easily. Pieces were not being done like this before. They're not really being done like this anymore. We had a spate of, I don't know, what would it be, 8 years or so, where walls were getting very graphic designy like that, and they're fantastic. Same kind of thing. You see it, so it's a take on a sort of computer Windows system. Lovely bit of one colour work in the background there. Popping out computer window there, little bits. I mean, this is gorgeous work, this. Really beautiful work. Very impressive. Big old cursor on there. Fantastic. Wow, super designed. Love that. I mean, this is still used today, this idea, you know, of it starts to break it, you know, it starts to pixelate and stuff. I mean, look at this. It's just stunningly good, right? Damn, that's good. They're really running with this theme. That's a beautiful photo there. Photorealism mixed with traditional graph. You know, who could possibly have a problem with that? Eat this stuff for breakfast, don't we? Absolutely love it. Cans and caps. This is mostly information stuff. So this is information. They did a lot of sort of show and tell around how to achieve certain effects, the problems that you get. That's called blushing. where it's often when you lay paint down on a surface which is a bit wet or that kind of stuff, you get blushing. There's cracking in a piece there. There's, you know, they tell you about how to sort of avoid that kind of stuff. All a bit of old-fashioned cap stuff. Oh, I say old-fashioned. It looks like most of this stuff is still around. Let's have a look. The banana skinny cap. I mean, that's what, you know, a lot of us use this. I love pink dots, absolutely love them, and the grey dot, of course. I think a lot of this has changed though. The German skinnies and the level 1s and level 2s, and I don't know if they're the same anymore. Sketches, here we go, we're into the sketch book, into the black book. Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant work. Love it, absolutely love it. Looks like he's worked in pencil there, all pencil work. Very impressive. Yeah, great figure work. Again, pencil work, so many, you know, so much graphite down on there. Oh, love these, look at these. Eesh. Really cool urban scene there. Some sort of mad machine, anything to do with mad machinery, I'm totally into that. Bang into that. Trying to get this whole book in there. How to. Oh, I see. Yeah, so this is going to take you through the whole process of all this. How they put these together. This is very useful. You see this? Because you see, I'll just give you one tip that they give in this book, which is the further things get away from you, they fade out in colour. So your colour values have to get less and less and less. So what you do is all your near ground like this, your foreground, you're doing it very, very as basically the darkest values you've got in your colours, and as you push it back right into background, you're getting really, really light. And you see that's what they've done there. They use a really light blue for their background there, and then really, really, really deep greens for the mountains in the foreground there. And there's the finished result. Wish these pictures were slightly bigger, but they're not. Similar kind of thing here, except we're close on this guy. Showing you which bits they put in first, from first lines all the way to finished result. Really good. Same kind of thing, doing hair. Oh god, doing hair. I mean, I'm not a photorealistic artist. So I don't need to worry about any of this, because this looks like murder to me. I would not enjoy painting like this at all. You know, we each have our own bag. Don't think for a second you need to be a photorealistic grapher to be really good at graph. You know, we'll find our own way, find our own genre, thing that works for us, thing that we really enjoy doing. I mean, this is brilliant, this work. It's really, really brilliant. But if you're not going to get into, I mean, this is professional muralism a lot of the time. That's what needs photorealism. Guys who are doing that sort of stuff. Misdemeanor, Nasher, Bellin, you know, these sorts of guys doing great photorealism. What's his name? Oh, come on. Irony as well. Me and Hush used to share a studio with him at one point. Really good photorealism. Halls of Fame. Ooh, yeah. Come on, look at that. I just love that. What's in my mouth? Amazing and beautiful colour. I love that green. It's a sort of yellowy green, isn't it? It's the sort of green you find in a frog pond. Gorgeous. Not afraid to just get the flash colours in there, do the rest in the greens. Love it. Love it. No rules, right? We do what we like. We'll do whatever we like and make it look good. Graphic designy finish on there. So you've got Atom, Rusk, traditional big graph pieces, beautiful work. Then you've got this lovely graphic designy thing with a photorealism. It's all tucked inside the, you know, I mean, it's just gorgeous. Solid block, dark red as a background. Solid block, yellowy green. Using a darker green for the font work. So that stays further back. The orange, you instantly bring it forward. Doesn't even need a drop shadow on the orange. You don't need it. Because you've got a bit of white 3D on it. You don't need it because the contrast between these two greens will just lift that as much as you need it to be lifted. Very good. Really good. Love that. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, love it. Art on spray cans and stuff like that. Oh. Doesn't get any better. I mean, you know, how many wow moments in one book? That is just brilliant. Again, you know, it's sort of like, for me, I don't know if it is for you guys, but for me, it's made by the fact you've got traditional graph and this together in that way. I love it. I absolutely love it. Same here. And this particularly, because the contrast, so you get, obviously the graphic design thing, I've talked about it a lot. Get here as well. This idea of the graphic, you know, the very graphic designy finish to it. Look at the contrast. You've got the photorealism in greys. Then he's contrasted that a little bit with these two colour photorealistic pieces. And then a huge contrast with hugely vivid orange and yellow and white piece. And that's all contrasting beautifully with a grey background. Perfect. Not afraid to work in monochromatics as well. A grayscale piece there. Lovely bit of, I mean, look at that for a contrast. Nearly all monochromatics there. And then this very, very vivid, very boom, 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 you know, colourful piece. That's mad, isn't it? That is mad. Just say, I love them colours there as well. Love them colours on a piece. It feels so kind of like, reminds me a little bit of, it's very T-Kiddy, that, you know, very T-Kid. Bit of a nod to T-Kid there. Got to give respect to the guys who made this stuff happen. Again, you know, look at this stuff. All one colour. Always amazing. Mr. Mina does a lot of that. If you ever see Mr. Mina's work, does photorealism in one colour. It's very impressive. Check out his stuff if you've never seen it before. Amazing photorealistic guy. Works for murals and graffiti life and all those guys. Yeah, lovely. So good. So you get spoilt for a while, don't you? You know, so many good pieces, piece after piece. Just brilliant work. I mean, damn, look at that work there. So this sort of monochrome photorealism there, and then full colour photorealism on the top, and then a sort of cartoon outline over the top of that, and you know, just if you did any of this work today, you know, people would be very, very impressed with you. Professional work, and well, that's the... Oh, I see. They do frontages like that. That's a clever idea, isn't it? I mean, a bit boring for us who love graph, but you know, functional. Yeah, don't know what that is, but I mean, this is not very interesting for us, really, is it? We're looking for. This is more what we're looking for. I mean, very, very skillful. You know, bodybuilder there, all that. Again, underwater, very skillful, but ain't my cup of tea, really. Yeah, canvas. That's what they're doing, canvas. Oh yes, classic sort of photorealism canvas. Beautiful work. Bit more sort of arty, meta, you might say. That's a Montana Gold thing. It's probably some sort of promotional thing for them. Amazing. Yeah, nice. So yeah, again, sort of, you got graphic design elements, you got very arty design elements. Yeah, I think it's beautiful stuff. I don't like it as much as the production walls. Then I wouldn't, would I? Again, very, very accomplished. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of my, it's sort of my least favourite stuff of theirs. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really, really brilliant. You've got to be a super skilled artist to pull this stuff off. But it is my least favourite stuff of it, really. I find it the least vibrant in a way. And that's it. And just to mention, I just want to give a shout out to AKUT. AKUT are the distributors. They're the big sort of publishing distributors. They do style file, all that sort of stuff. And really good people. They really helped me out early on, distributed one of my early books. This is some of the stuff they do, style file, all that kind of thing. They did the Dime book, Montana Writing Team. These are all old now, but they still put out style file every so often, a magazine. So buy it and support, keep them in business, because they work tirelessly for writers. There you go, there's my claim. With the hand style and stuff there. There we go. There we go, chaps. What do you think of that? McClaim, finest photorealistic graffiti. I mean, you know, jaw-dropping, isn't it, really? Some of them production walls are just a joy. You know, they're the kind of walls that most of us want to be working on. You know, I've been lucky enough to be on some great production walls with some very, very skilled artists. And it's the thing as a grapher, if you're into the art, if you're not just into bombing. I was a bomber early on, but I was always interested in the art. I wanted to get better at the art and be able to create great work. And it's a great privilege to be on a wall with other great artists. You know, you're all pulling together to try to create a really great wall. And yeah, you know, it's a special thing. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you in the next one.